आप सबका स्वागत है. Today we're going to have a longish open house and I'll take all your questions, but I'm going to tackle three important subjects. First, we're going to tackle the Sino-India Thaw, which is likely to happen or which is in the air. What are the dangers which go with it? And how do the Chinese look at it? It's nice to say there's a thaw happening, but what about the Chinese? Then we're going to talk about, you know, how China is being pushed out of the Panama Canal by Trump. And the third thing we're going to talk of, what's India's international image vis-a-vis others? What are the narratives? And how are we handling this whole story? And then, of course, I'll take your questions. Right. Let's start. Let's get going. First, we'll talk about Chinese perspectives. How does China look at it? Does China want to go back to the time, July time, as I've shown in this thumbnail? Or is there something else? That's the important thing. These days, I'm putting out the Chinese views about India, which goes in their internal, media, which we are normally, it's impervious to us. That is a completely different picture from what they're coming forward to us. But notwithstanding that, let's go to the whole thing. 26th March, our joint secretary had went to China, WMCC meeting, they said, okay, we should find a way forward and all that. Nothing is very clear, but something like that. And then, our external affairs minister gave an interview to the Asia Society. And that interview got reported and analyzed extensively in China. I've just picked up Guancha. Maybe from the next time, I'll pick up from other sites also. Difficult to penetrate them. That's the whole problem. Okay. Now, what does he say? They've reported extensively on the fact that, look, the external affairs minister said conflict is not the right way to solve the problem. So, what is the sum total of his statement in that Asia Society podcast? He says conflict is not the right way to solve the problem between China and India. Of course, in that podcast, he spoke of many things. He spoke of India's role, India, China, India, USA, India, Russia. It was the longest thing. He spoke of China for only 2-3 minutes. They picked it up. And they've analyzed it. Okay. Because conflict is not the right way to solve the problems. We all know that. It's never the right way to solve the problems. Look, I'm putting all this out so that tomorrow, if you want to refer to something, you can refer. That's the whole thing. Otherwise, I can keep talking. Right. But what he says is, while it's not the right way to solve the problems, India and China will still have problems well into the foreseeable future. And you need to evolve as to how to solve those problems which are going to come up. Because these problems are not now, they're generational. Right. And he says whatever has happened in 2020 was not the right way to solve the problem. And the thing is, ever since Xi Jinping and Mr. Modi met in Kazan last year, relations have improved. There's no doubt about it. They have improved. And both sides, as per him, diplomatically, he said, are building to improve this relationship and repair the damage. Okay. And he's also gone on to say, despite historic challenges, India and China have worked to develop relations. And most importantly, he said differences between the two countries should not evolve into disputes. And competition should not convert into conflict. So this is something which he is only reiterating what the Prime Minister has also said in his podcast to Lex Fridman, that competition shouldn't turn into conflict. Differences should not be turned into disputes. And we should not fight the way we did in April 2020. We won't fight because the Chinese can't fight. That's a different story. Okay. How have the Chinese analyzed it? That's the important thing. Now the point is, they said, look, it is India which has repeatedly undermined the consensus which existed up to 2020. They crossed the line at Galwan Valley. They crossed the line at Pangong Tso Lake and Rechinla and other areas. And the provocation was basically from India. And this is part of that analysis of that article in Guancha. And then they say that Indian nationalism is high. Mr. Modi has hyped up Indian nationalism. The China threat has been hyped up. And both the countries, and खास करके India takes actions to undermine the Chinese economic activity. Like India has banned Chinese mobile apps. Okay, we've banned investment. Uh, we are reviewing, or rather watered down, the Chinese proposals. We've put anti-dumping actions. We are getting after the Chinese enterprises in India. All this has been recounted. If India does all this, then how can we trust India? That's the thing. And he says, look, China has repeatedly told India that, look, change your discriminatory practices. And we oppose all this. So he's, mind you, remember, all this analysis is going into the Chinese people. They've been conditioned to think that way. Nowhere will they say, no, we went and attacked. And that's why, all that. Actually, that's natural. They are trying to portray India poorly. Period. Understand that. And then, of course, he's also quoted the Lex Friedman interview. And he's reiterated, I hope, what the Prime Minister has said. They've quoted it. I hope China and India can compete in a healthy and natural way. Competition is not a bad thing, but it should not evolve into conflict. This is what the Prime Minister said. All this they are reiterating when this thing. Okay. Now, what he says in this article, because of the India-US tariff regime which is coming up, because of China-US tariffs which is coming up, because of the improvement in relations between India and China, India is now considering relaxing a series of trade, flight, and visa restrictions, which it had imposed on China. And it is also opening door for Chinese investment to facilitate Chinese enterprises to facilitate investment into India. But the important thing here is enterprises and Indian partners jointly invest in India. That's the catchword. I think that's a smart thing to do. If they're going to invest, make it a joint investment. Earlier, they were allowed to invest ad lib. Now it has to be an Indian, so that it's an Indian firm. They can't run away. They can't do unfair practices. They have to. If there's an Indian partner, they have to impart with technology. And if the chap wants to withdraw, let him go. Then the Indian partner takes over. The government can facilitate that firm to be taken over by Indian partner. But the point is, will India be able to bring it about? I think they're working towards that. If that happens, it's okay. For that, Indian businesses have to step up. Okay. And of course, these flights are tricky. Earlier, we used to have a free regime for flights. We used to run one flight, they used to run 5 flights. So they were making money. It has to be on equal proportion. I mean, the way I look at it, everything has to be equal. 50-50. If they do one thing, we should do one thing. And if that is the way to go forward, that's my way of thinking. That is not Chinese way of thinking. That I've explained to you that China will never part with technology. They're very clear that they don't want to, and they will ensure that we buy things from them and we don't know the know-how. Okay? Because the day we get that, one fine day we'll tell them get lost. And they've done it to the West. So they know that one day we will do it to them. So they will not. So we are in a tight position to handle this business of trade and all that. Okay. They also say the Indian government believes that reconciliation with China in commercial relations is inevitable. Have we given them too much already? Have we opened the door without negotiations? That's my worry. And that's what the government of India has to think of. Of course, what he says is India will use this, you know, deal, or rather the impending deal and the impending thaw with China, and use it as a hedge against USA, which we should. We should tell USA, look, to a large extent, any thaw with China puts USA on the back foot, right? They say now I mean, for USA, the biggest problem for them is Russia, India, China. If a Russia, India, China triangle develops, it's curtains for USA. Let's be very clear about it. And what is Trump doing? We'll discuss it a little later. He is trying the ulta. USA, Russia, China, India. And that's what General Rajiv Narayanan also spoke to you in the last podcast. And don't think this is a flight of fancy. It's on the card somewhere. Okay. Then that analysis. Why is India, being nice to China all of a sudden? He says because the economy is bad. And he's analyzed this, why the economy is bad. I mean, at some places it's good. This analysis is correct. At some places it is off. But that's the way they think. They think that India is now weak, and that is why it's making amends with China. Look, the government of China knows it's not so. But this is the way it is being positioned and being sold to their people. And that is the way they are telling everyone, the whole world. So that is what we need to be very clear about. Okay. Then they've carried out an extensive research about, in this article, they carried out an extensive research about our economy. And this fellow who's done this thing, it's a five column, article, long article. It took me almost an hour to understand what this fellow is writing and he's done a lot. He says, is there a major hard injury in the Indian economy? The Indian economy is in a bad shape. Of course, they were putting this analysis out to their people to show that Indian economy is in a bad shape. China is the one going to save them. China is the one who's going to tell them, look, let's be together so that we can defeat USA and all that story. And there's also today in Guangzhou only I saw China is going to be the center of the world for everything. USA is in decline. China will be the one. People will follow China. So that thing is not gone out of their head. They still believe that this is an opportunity. The Trump period is an opportunity for them to move in and re-establish themselves. But yesterday I told you it's not going to happen. I mean, my view is the Chinese are hoping for hope against everything else. Their propaganda through their hocus pocus. They might achieve something, but I doubt. But look, at the end of the day, there is this issue of Chinese malevolence. And I spoke about this in the last episode. And I'm going to now just replay what I spoke then so that you understand what this whole story is all about. Okay. What are the cornerstones of Chinese malevolence? They don't discuss the border issue at all. They don't discuss Pakistan. They don't discuss Tibet. They want our markets. Technology denial will be the name of the game. Invasion into the neighborhood is to be expected. They will suppress India at any cost and ensure it does not develop. They will ensure it does not have self-confidence to develop international status. China will interfere in India-USA, India-Russia relationship and India neighborhood relations. Let's expect it. This is part of the Chinese malevolence, which is ongoing and we must expect. What are the cornerstones of Chinese malevolence? Right. So this is the thing which I said last time. Nothing changes. When I read a lot of these, I've just shown you 2 or 3 articles today. But when you see over the longer period, the Chinese malevolence is there. Even in all this, they've never spoken about the border issue. So one has to be very, very careful when do all this. Okay. So one of the things which keeps getting highlighted in their uh, thing, media and in their opinions and their discussions is that the India-US relations are going southwards. They're not good. They're not. In fact, they're bad. And Modi has been, slighted by Trump. Okay, not given him anything. But there's another story which we need to understand because you. Why I'm taking this is you understand it in the context of this, what the Chinese feel. This Council for Foreign Relations, they've carried out an analysis and they came to India and carried out this analysis. And they said how India is responding to Trump. 5 takeaways from a trip to Delhi. So they came here, they interacted with everyone and all that. So what do they feel? What did they find? How? Why I'm saying this is China feels that we are not doing well. Many of us here might be feeling that we are not doing well with USA, but there's a different story, and that different story might come on tomorrow, day after, when the deal is, people, India, USA is still dealing on trade relations, RFCA war. After all, April 2 is a deadline. So something good might come out of it. Okay. The feeling in India about this whole story is Trump's pivot to Russia is a vindication of its stance in Ukraine war. That look, we did the right thing. The feeling which they get is look, the Eastern Ladakh clash, Galwan Valley, and in whatever happened in 2020 has fundamentally changed the China-India relationship. And whatever Thaw happens, whatever happens, the fundamental strategic equation won't change. That we will never trust China. Our assessment of China will remain that it is our adversary. Okay. While China is our primary adversary, we know it's not going to come and sit on our head. Our primary focus is still our periphery. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. That's the feeling they get. And I think all of us are giving some good signals to people. It's from my side, I think we are on the right track. Okay, India doesn't have a major role in East Asia. Okay. I mean, China wants us to go and sit in Western Pacific. We are not interested in doing that and getting involved in their politics. Let China handle it, let USA handle it, and the countries there handle it. But India is open to opening up bilateral relations and security equations with USA. And if that takes us there, that's a different story, but that's a long way off. We have to look after our own backyard. And that's what the thing. And most importantly, we went back with the view that India is confident in its ability to navigate the second Trump administration. So if India has got this kind of a confidence, and we're going to have a thaw with China, we need to control that thaw. That's the point. That's why I showed you. So India is in a position where the relationship with USA is changing, your relationship with Russia is changing, your relationship with China is changing. China and USA are changing fast, and we need to handle it intelligently. Right. And we also have to understand that, USA is not giving anything on the plate. Everyone read this annual threat assessment. Okay. We know that. Okay. Interestingly, when I read it, everything was fine. Okay. But what does it say? It says a range of cyber and intelligence actors are targeting our wealth, critical infrastructure, telecom, and media. Ye to theek hai. He says non-state groups are often enabled both directly and indirectly by state actors such as China and India as sources of precursors and equipment for drug traffickers. So you've been put in that India enables non-state actors. So you're You're mentioned in dispatches there in a negative manner. I mean, this is something which I don't know whether people have seen it. हम सब सोचते हैं कि ये एनुअल असेसमेंट इज गॉट नथिंग, इट्स अबाउट non-state actors, transnational actors, and China and all that. But India has a mention negatively. So we have to understand this. And then, of course, we need to understand what's our problem with USA. What happens tomorrow if India is going along in its own way and suddenly you find that USA and China reach G2, जी जिनपिंग और ट्रंप हाथ मिला देते हैं, तो फिर ना हम इधर के हैं ना उधर के हैं. और डीलिंग्स विद चाइना आल्सो हैव टू बी अकॉर्डिंगली फैक्टर्ड. And we also should be clear that USA will suddenly not appear by our side when we are in problems. They never done. Yes. Also, the fact is that they've helped us out intelligence and things like that. Beyond that, we don't need anything either. But it shouldn't be that they don't. And a lot of people in India feel that USA is not reliable and trustworthy. It's not only a lot of people in India. Today, a lot of people in Western Pacific feel so. If there's an article in Nikkei Asia which says, look, in the East Asian countries, including Japan, Korea, and Philippines, and Taiwan, and all these people, should start working for a day when Trump and his gang might not be around. Like they have like Europe is going through problems. What happens there? We are not going through all that. We are not going through those dilemmas. Our dilemma is how to handle China. He's coming strong at us. We know that he's a bloody fake. And he doesn't like us. There's malevolence, which I've explained to you. So how do we handle it? That's the point. Okay. We handle it this way. Mr. Putin is coming here. So he's our release wall. How do we handle Russia? Will help us handling China and USA. Both. And if Trump is successful in the way he's going about these things, you might find that whole story changing. It might be a USA, Russia, India triangle, in which case China will get squeezed. That's a later day story. You see, I added this in the end. I just was reading Guancha just now and I got this. What is more terrible than the rise of China is that India has become Asian Ukraine. You think this is a Chinese viewpoint? That India is being equated to Ukraine? I mean, can you think? Such a poor way of thinking. It's by an Indian. And this article finds in Guancha. It doesn't come in Indian newspapers. And this fellow, S.L. Kansan, he's an Indian. So when you have such Indians, you don't need enemies. You don't need China to be your enemy. And these guys are writing there. Gaddar. I don't know who this Kansan is. I mean, I know, but I'm not going to talk. I'm sure you chaps will understand who he is and send it. This Praveen Sani, वो कहाँ से वो फिलोसोफर बन गया यार, मिलिट्री फिलोसोफर. तो 5 साल के बाद उसको फौज ने उसको रहने के लिए जगह नहीं दिया, तो वो तो जाके अपना लिख रहा है. तब से वो चाइना के पीछे लिख रहा है. ये भी ऐसे ही होगा कोई. So we have to be very clear where we are. We are going through a time of great global change. And at the same time, we are very stable in the whole story. And we should be clear about what the Chinese perspectives are in this potential India-China thaw. Look, China is being culled away from Panama. Trump is very clear. He cited Xi Jinping there and he is going to throw him out. And I'm going to tell the story. Okay. At the end of the story, I'll paint a different picture. This is what Trump said. Okay.
We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama. And Panama's been ripping down all the China language signs. They've been working like mad to try, but about 70% of the signs were up and they were written in Chinese, and that's not the deal. So we're going to take it back. They've already offered to do many things, but we think it's appropriate that we take it back. They've totally violated the agreement. We have an agreement.
So, can you imagine in Panama, in their ports, there are Chinese signs. Those ports were taken over. Now, let's understand what this whole story is all about. And Trump was not wrong. And the way I look at it, Trump is absolutely going the right way. I mean, you think that Trump is doing all funny things? I don't think so. I've always maintained this. There's a plan. He's come with a plan, and he's executing that plan. Most of us are not probably seeing the larger plan. Now we'll get to that. So this is, I'll make this a little bigger so that all of you can see it comfortably. All right. Now, this is the Panama Canal. Okay. There's a port here by Hutchinson, and this is also a port Hutchinson. These ports are called Cristobal here and Balboa. Now, C.K. Hutchison is a Hong Kong firm owned by the Lakashing Group, okay, of Chinese. They are based in Hong Kong. They use that all the leeway of one country, two systems to run the ports all over the world. They operate both these. And they've been operating this port from 1977. Understand that. Right. Now, this is that port where, what he said, all the signposts are in Chinese. Okay. Now, to give it a little, put it in this thing, suddenly, about 15 days back, 20 days back, C.K. Hutchinson announced that they're selling this to BlackRock in a deal of 23 billion, and 19 billion was in cash. Now, this deal covers not just these two ports, but 43 container ports in 23 countries. It's a major push. So that means China has controlling all this. And now, USA is pushing them out. So this is the first dhakka. People kept saying, yeah, he's not acting against China. There he is. He's acting against China. Of course, this includes this Balboa and Cristobal at the end. Now, in the Panama Canal, this C.K. Hutchinson controlled 39% of the containers in 2024. 40%. How do they control the canal? You have a ship coming from, say, Spain, has to put goods through the canal. So that ship will offload it, say, one of the ports, and that container will be there and put into another ship which goes through the Panama Canal and taken to the other end to the Hutchinson port and then put out another ship and taken. Fine, it sounds natural, isn't it? But whether your container will go through today or after 1 month will depend on the port. And the port will have secure passage for the time it wants. So it can move Chinese goods and not move other goods. And that was what was happening. And there's a clamor in China that, look, these ports are making profit. And why are they selling? Though the entire Lakashing group otherwise was not doing well. And China was unhappy with this deal. Because this gives a big dhakka to Chinese national interest, because now their influence, global influence, is waning. And their prestige is also waning. Whereas this C.K. Hutchinson said this whole thing is commercial. Let me assure you, nothing is commercial in this. I mean, commercial action will be there, but it's largely geopolitical. It is the Trump screw. USA is very clear. they'll kick out the Chinese from here. And not only here, this is probably the first step. What we'll see ahead is USA will ensure that the Chinese influence in Latin America goes. Monroe Doctrine. And we also have to realize it's not going to be easy. Because China has used corruption as a tool to get hold of all this. So that is being sucked out. And there are other things also. We'll come to it. This is Hutchinson Sports. All these sports all over the world which are there. Okay. I'll make this biggest so that you can have a look. This is it. They got those 52 ports in 46 countries. The deal includes 43 ports. Those 13 ports which are not included in this deal are those ports which are around, China and Hong Kong. Those are not part of the deal. The rest are being sold out. Okay. Now, this is not the thing alone. There's this Chanque port in Peru, which has just been inaugurated last 2-3 months back. Xi Jinping went for inaugurating it. And there's a Chinese deep space station in Argentina. This is very interesting. I'll highlight it in full. And then C.K. Hutchinson also manages ports in Mexico, that is Veracruz, Manzanillo, and Lázaro Cárdenas. Important ports. ये सब खाली करना पड़ेगा धीरे धीरे. Now let me talk about this deep space port. This is an article of when 2019, 5 years back. That's when this was set up. China's military-run space station in Argentina is a black box. Argentina in South America, आप देख लो, map देख ही रहो. This is Argentina. Somewhere here it is there. Okay. They got a deep space station here. Okay, we'll see what the deep space station does. This is the one. Okay, let me give you the particulars. It's the first of its kind outside China. Spans 494 acres. 16-story apartment antenna. This antenna is 16 stories tall. This one. Can you imagine? That big. The deal between Argentina and China, and this deal was done when the left-wing government was there in Argentina. They would have bought them off very clearly. Okay? Tax and custom duty exemption for 50 years. There's a frequency exclusion zone of 62 miles. So that means in 62 miles of this deep space station, you can't communicate. And any violation to this, it needs authorization of the Chinese government. This is China or Argentina. That's the point. The deal is supposed to be that Argentina and China will use it together. Okay, jointly. But the Argentinian Space Agency can use it only for 10% of the time. And that is 2 hours in a day. The rest, China will use it. Okay. And it is run by China Satellite Launch and Tracking Control General, CLTC, which is part of the PLA. Or in fact, it is part of the Strategic Support Force. Completely aake baith gaye. And the agreement does not lay down what is its use for, whether it's for military purposes, dual purpose, what is it? Now let me digress a bit. Now, why should we bother about it? You know, all these spy ships which come here, they have this equipment. Just think, if that spy ship came to Hambantota, pura India kada ho gaya, and they put pressure on Sri Lanka, and tomorrow we're going to sign a defense deal with Sri Lanka, the first after the IPKF operations. I'll cover it next week. And whenever such a spy ship loafs around, we are careful about it. Here is this a base there in Argentina. Why is that spy ship a problem? It doesn't do deep space activities, it tracks missile tests. Now, with that, it can also track ICBMs coming into USA. It's a security threat. And so far, from 2019, USA has done nothing about it. Very interesting. We have not done. We have put. So don't you think Trump is doing the right thing for USA? He's kicking the Chinese out, which is good. Now, getting back to Panama, this deal was signed in 1997 for 25 years. And 2018, Xi Jinping went to, what's that? Not Argentina. He went to Panama and ensured this whole thing got extended to 2027 or rather 2047. The deal is now another extended by 25 years. 21, 22 it got extended. So the deal is now up to 2047. All this has happened right under USA's nose. So if Trump wants Panama, he's very clear. He's looking at America first. It's not America first. It is the security of America. Aren't we worried if something comes and sits in Hambantota? We were weak. We couldn't stop Hambantota from being made, but not anymore. Same thing with him. So Li Ka-shing's sale. Li Ka-shing is the owner of C.K. Hutchison. He's 91 years old. And his family is running this whole story. It's left the Chinese infuriated. And if you look at it, every day you see a thing that about in Guancha, ek, do. But now what has happened is that today it's come out that the sale is not going to go through immediately. The sale was to be inked on 2nd April, that is day after tomorrow. Now the Chinese have put a foot in. I'll come to that. All these articles you'll see in wherever. Okay, a lot of discussion. China is agitated that they're losing their interest. So China is fighting back whatever it can. Now, if you go into the thing, how did it happen? Marco Rubio went to Panama and he read the riot act to them. The sequence is here. I'll not go by that. Then he got a lawsuit filed in the Panama High Court against the Chinese presence there. And the Attorney General of Panama went to the Supreme Court and said they should be upheld, that lawsuit. And the Supreme Court upheld it. And thereafter, Panama said we will not be part of the Belt and Road. So Panama is now out of the Belt and Road. Simultaneously, he also gave a twist to Colombia. Colombia has also started singing against China now. He is also helping in Argentina, Javier Milei, how to get that bloody deep space station out. Let's see where it goes. They're not going to see what China has put its foot now. It will not go run away in a hurry. But he has pressurized C.K. Hutchinson somehow. And C.K. Hutchinson knows now that Li Ka-shing knows that politically that business is unviable. And he's put pressure on the European part. Where European part, who's come to help America? Italy. In BlackRock, 50% of the stake goes to a person in Italy. So Italy has joined hands. Meloni and Trump have joined hands and pushing them out. And this will go through. Now, somewhere around beginning of this month, 4th March, the sale was announced that April 2nd it will happen. Then China initially said no comment. Then, of course, China has gone into overdrive. Xi Jinping was unhappy. And as of yesterday, the sale has was suspended, and there's a whole lot of antitrust probes. Ye wo ho jayega. But eventually, you'll find that the Panama Canal control will go back to USA. Then the next thing will be Latin America, because already in the Chanque port, which was inaugurated 2 months back, there's a lot of problems in Peru. Peru is not happy with this port because the Chinese, Chinese, they'll not let anyone be happy. So there is a issue. Now, let me talk about this a little in further. See, what is Trump doing by pushing, China and Xi Jinping out of Panama? That's the larger question. The larger question is very clear. They push him out. Once this guy is out, then the rest of the Latin America will also be addressed. Chinese influence will reduce here. So here's a push. There's a pull on Greenland. J.D. Vance has gone there and he's made a speech and all that. And sooner or later, complete Greenland will come under American control. ये तो होना ही है. Okay. Then everyone says he's giving too much to Russia and all that. He's not bothered about Ukraine and minerals and all. वो तो हो जाएगा. He knows if he does a deal with Russia, Ukraine will bloody well give him minerals and whatever it is. There's no doubt about my mind. So he's pulling Russia in. He's giving Putin any concession. He says, take any concession. I'm not bothered. But you make a deal with me. So that deal will pull Russia towards him, and it will break that link between China and Russia. That's on the cards. Chinese also know it. And that's where India comes in. So in the future, if this goes through, if this consolidation of North America, America goes through, which will go through, and he gets that Ukraine to some closure, whatever. And I think Trump is ready to pay the price for that closure. Whatever it is, Russia को कुछ भी देना है दे दो. उसको क्या फर्क पड़ता है यूक्रेन में क्या हुआ ना हुआ. He is looking at the greater picture. And then, right, automatically the focus is on China. People talk, he's not focused on China. I don't think so. And the Chinese know that. That's why they're now trying to scuttle that sale. That sale can't be scuttled and will not be stopped. Okay. Look, I'm going to talk about Western and Chinese narratives and what is the reality and how India needs to start thinking afresh. Okay, we recently know that Heathrow Airport was closed. It was closed because there was a substation fire. Now people say there's nothing suspicious about it. It was closed. Nearly more than 3,000, 4,000 flights were sent out. The whole lot was disrupted and all that. Just think, what if that incident happened in India? What if Delhi, Bombay, Chennai or Calcutta had such thing? And tens and thousands of passengers were stranded. What will be the media narration? India is a place of absolute chaos. Headlines, however. India is not fit to be, it's a third world country, masquerading as a power. Okay. India has got crumbling infrastructure. Our own TV will start saying talk of India's incompetence and lack of preparedness and all that. There'll be debates. Aaj tak, ye tak, kal tak, parson tak, dunia news and all that nonsense. Then Pakistan will start talking. China will start talking. Even Bangladesh will start talking. India thinks it's a superpower, but it is a third-rate country. Okay. Then our own think tanks will start saying, oh, we are not yet ready for the global leadership. Our reliability as a business hub, our ability to handle infrastructure and all is poor. These will all come out. What will our government do? They'll call for an inquiry, sack one fellow, then other governments will, issue travel advisories. Then there'll be pressure from UN to reform and buy new equipment, which will be sold only by the West or something like that. Our own NRIs all over the world will say, "Yeah, India doesn't know how to manage itself. That's why I'm going back." They'll say, "No, no, Britishers ko वापस ले आओ." There'll be threats. Why did I leave India? Because there's nothing which will go wrong in India. But by Heathrow में हुआ तो कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता ना. वो तो गोरे हैं. तो गोरों को कुछ हुआ तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? वो तो कभी कभी होता है. वो तो गोरे अच्छे हैं. If it's Delhi, it's an international embarrassment. If it's Heathrow, it's an unfortunate technical issue. But no one bothers to talk about their ramshackle infrastructure. London is an unreliable city. UK government is bloody inefficient. And it's becoming from London to Londonistan. It's so costly. पूरा सब कुछ गिर रहा है उधर. उसके बारे में कोई बात ही नहीं करता. हम कैसे लोग हैं यार? Why should we not start standing up to our own thing? Okay, this happened in Heathrow. It's only in London. What about, let's talk about the other places. What about China? China these days talks the next space power, superpower. So all our efforts at going docking and decoupling and docking exercise or putting a person in Earth in the a manned space station and all, they mocked. I've done so many videos on our thing and how Chinese have mocked. What are Chinese reactions? India is a third-rate country. Third brother, hai na hum. That's what third-rate brother. That's what they talk. But what's the reality? Let me show you. See this. Goes back to 2020. In 2020, in one of the thing, it had 2 launches. कभी हुआ इंडिया में ऐसे? Launches on the platform. It didn't happen. It happened in 22 also. It crashes back on Earth. This is not 22. Last year, there was an accidental launch. It was not supposed to launch. It got launched. ये है वो वीडियो देखो. It's there on the net. यही नहीं है वापस आ जाता है. See that? Okay. So that's not the only thing. Look at this building. This building was built by China. वो देखो ऊपर Chinese ये वो. Last year, this China Railway Number 10 Engineering Group Urban Construction Company, they celebrated that they built this building here. Where is this building? In Thailand. This is a Thailand audit office building. Now this is collapsed. When? Dekho. Same building. 3 days back it collapsed. Other buildings have not collapsed. Only the Chinese building has collapsed. It's like this crashed car, yeah. उसका नैरेटिव नहीं है. हम कितने बेवकूफ हैं यार. हर चीज का होता है हद. So we have to believe ourselves that we can do the right thing and do the right thing better. Have these things happened in India? And then you think USA is something great? You look at that damn thing where operational messages are being traded around in Signal or WhatsApp. What happens if tomorrow I give details about operations in Signal, WhatsApp here, and someone intercepts it, and people are flying over a place, and the air defense there is activated, and what happens? Just think if these fellows, Americans, that signal thing was intercepted. and Houthis came to know that American strike is coming, and if they had their air defense ready, would these Houthis have been struck well, or operations wouldn't be jeopardized? Would that couldn't the pilots have lost life? And look at this. Such things don't happen in India. It's never happened in India. Okay. And look at this. There's a memo on China, okay, and the Homeland Security, which is based on a normal from they have copied this whole thing from a think tank paper and put it as their official thing. That's their official plan now. How copy paste का भी हद होता है. I've never imagined that I will do any such kind of copy paste, cut copy paste. I mean, I'm shocked. This is the first world. China, USA. I mean, I've not taken more. I'm sure if I did a little research, I would have got more. How poor it is. And why are we worried about or what we do or not? Why are we worried that look, what we are doing is wrong? Why should we justify to any stupid buffoon all over the world that India is doing right thing? What we do is right. Let's look at it. I'm proud of my country, which hasn't done all this. We have problems. I know today also there's a trail derailment. The Kamakya Express. There'll be not bridge falling. Ye wo. It's not peculiar to us. We have to improve, there's no doubt. But what happens elsewhere is even worse. And we should stop being critical about ourselves. That's the point of this video. I do hope you liked it. I do hope you people have liked all these which I put across to you today. And if you do like all this, please press the like button and subscribe to Gunner Shot. And I request some of you to join me as members of the Gunner Shot because, like I said, it goes for a good cause. Right. I finished with what I had to say. 3 topics. I hope I made it interesting, something different. So I'll take your questions now. Okay. Let me first take this. USA is weak internally, probably for the first time ever, but it is only showing power. China has energy, food, fish, shipping, raw material dependencies. Jai Hind. Yeah, I agree with you. Completely. China is not strong. China has problems of everything. They don't have energy, they're food insecure. They don't have open access. They're dependent on everything from outside. Okay, I agree with you. But the way I look at it is that USA is now consolidating. Once it consolidates and gives China a dhakka, I think things will start improving. That's how the way I look at it. उदय लाल दास सर को आग्रह करते हैं कि यही कार्य महीने में हिंदी में. देखिए उदयलाल जी, मैं पहले हिंदी में ही बात करता था, पर जैसे मैंने बताया मैंने बंद कर दिया बीच में. तो आप मेरे को बताइए किस चीज के बारे में बात करना है. हम हिंदी में एक दिन हफ्ते में करेंगे. क्यों महीने में, क्यों हफ्ते में एक बार हम हिंदी में बात करने के लिए तैयार हैं, पर विषय क्या होगा आप उसका सूची दीजिए हमें, आप कहीं भी मेरे को बता सकते हो, हम बात करेंगे। राइट, जो भी विषय के बारे में आप सोचते हो हम बात कर सकते हैं। पहले तो हम 100% हिंदी में बात करते थे। अभी भी डॉक्टर अमजद अयूब मिर्जा का उन्होंने चैनल नया चलाया, वहां जाके हमने हिंदी में बात किया, हमें कोई इतराज नहीं है इसमें। Nothing to ask because I can't listen live. Oh, I've been missing you, Karthik, but I can understand. But to appreciate all the videos you make to educate common, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Karthik. I'm honored. Okay, let's take some questions. Yeah, our Indian officers have been charged with espionage. Yeah, this will go on. This thing will go on. Don't we know the story of unknown gunman? We're also doing the same thing. Okay. What a great episode. London Delhi part is very special. It shed lights on our colonized mind, sadly, after 75 years. We have been programmed to look up Western countries and look down. Yeah, that's the point. Why should you? You don't have to. अपना स्टाइल है यार, अपना रवैया है, अपना है, इज्जत है। देखिए, आई एम नॉट अ गाय हु टॉक्स एंड डज नथिंग। ये नहीं कि हम बोलते रहेंगे और कुछ नहीं करेंगे। जो भी मैंने किया आत्मनिर्भरता के लिए मैंने किया जी, अपने जिंदगी में जो मैं कर सकता था मैंने किया। ये मैं सच्चे दिल से बात कर रहा हूं। और इसका प्रमाण क्या है कि yesterday, day before, I did a video on print with Snehesh Alex Phillips. He is called me the father of modern artillery. इससे बड़ा मेरे को और क्या चाहिए यार जिंदगी में। और वो ज्ञान जो भी मैंने प्राप्त किया है मैं ऊपर लेके नहीं जा सकता, मैं तो यही बांट के जा सकता हूँ। इसलिए मैं बात करता हूँ आप लोगों के साथ। Are we an energy sufficient country? Amitesh, no, we are not. We are energy deficient. But can we be energy sufficient? We can. We can. And that route to go is thorium. Okay. I always used to wonder about Pravin Sani, always with anti-India views. Yeah, he gets published in China. I was surprised to read him in China. Yeah, Shailendra, I agree with you. China is in shambles. That's what I keep this thing, giving articles about China. Many people think I'm a fool to do all that, but that's the reality. We have to face reality. Don't fall for their narratives. If it's a great episode and it's a must listen to every Bharatiya, for all of you, please propagate this. Anyway, tomorrow, day after, I'll be cutting it into 3 pieces and putting it on small things. Please send it across. Yeah, अशरफ शाह, ईद मुबारक हो आपको भी। हमारी तरफ से नहीं, सबकी तरफ से, पूरा दुनिया इंडिया की तरफ से ईद मुबारक हो। और उगादी है आज, उगादी के लिए भी शुभकामनाएं सबके लिए। हैप्पी उगादी टू एवरीवन। ओके, ईद एक अच्छा दिन होता है। कोई भी त्योहार किसी भी रिलीजन का क्यों ना हो, अच्छा ही होता है। जो भी बोले चाहिए तो शाम तक ही रह गया your views. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree with you. Demarcation of border with China in future possible? It will be possible when we gain strength. That I think will take about a decade or so. Look, I keep saying for some reason 2030. I think 2030, 20 plus minus 2-3 years, you'll see major shifts happening. Already that they're happening, but you'll see them absolute manifestation. Then we'll talk. And URA formation is a possibility. We are seeing global geopolitical stability. It would compulsorily require a sea change in the American mindset, your views. Look, that mindset is happening. It's a natural thing which will happen. That is why China is feeling the pressure. I mean, why do you think I took Panama out today? I mean, let me be very honest with you. Why do you think I took that Panama episode? What's happening? भाई ट्रम्प इज ओनली कटिंग टैरिफ्स ऑन यू ये वो वहां से तो उखाड़ रहा है यार उसको एंड नॉट ओनली वहां दो पोर्ट्स इन पनामा कैनाल 43 23 कंट्री से उखाड़ रहा है चाइना को भाई तुम जाओ यहाँ से लपेटो पैसा लो और रफा दफा हो जाओ इट्स अ बिग थिंग या Likashing is like Jack Ma to the Chinese. We all know what happened to Ant. Panama has history as far as Chinese influence. I agree with you. That's the whole story. This is a serious question. You have so many Chinese bots crawling around everywhere on all platforms of YouTube, which is owned by Google, and they don't have access to China. How Chinese bots? That's $1 million question, which we have to. You have to ask Google. I've asked this. Okay, I agree with you. They keep coming and trolling here. I mean, I don't mind them trolling, but they do. It will be able to track launches, ICBM launches from USA early. Yes, it will only be able to track ICBM launches from USA. It will track and direct ICBMs from China into USA. You think that balloon 2 years back, which went across USA, was by mistake? It was not by mistake. It entered North America, crossed entire America. And that complete tracking was done from here. There's a test case. Given the changing nature of warfare, and in my measured view, the USA may already be at war with China. Possible. Not gone kinetic, but there's a war on. There's no doubt about it. Are you confusing SL Kansan with SL Kantan under Indian? Partner, ये बंदा वही है. Incidentally, I didn't talk. You have said he's the same guy. This is all grey zone. That fellow is doing grey zone from here. He's paid. This is not the first time I'm here reading his articles in Guancha. If I write no one Guancha will publish it. But the guys who get published, Indian authors who get published in Guancha, please understand they're complete communists. Why are we coercing with China? Why are we allowing FDI? Even there's no sign of border. I agree with you, but whatever reason, the government has taken the decision. I can't stop the government. We can all stop the government. Start writing to the Prime Minister. उसका है ना मन की बात आपके मन की बात बताइए उनको. I agree with you. Well, they blocked the sale of port. Yeah, but what can the government do? What can the government do sitting in China? They'll block the sale. But that port will be undermined now by Panama locally. Look, it's like this. Can you go and do a business in USA if the USA doesn't allow you to do it? So that's the point. Yeah, where's your other question? Okay, I'll get back to you, Vish. Why are we causing? Yeah, I've answered this question. We are not lapdogs of. I completely agree with you. We are not lapdogs of USA. You can screw USA. Incidentally, they'll come around. Ask me someday. I'll tell you. Who will pay Chinese private militia for protecting CPC workers, Paki or Chinese gens? $1 million question, Jay. Who knows? Yeah. At the end, I think China will have to pay because if people start getting killed, they'll have problems in China. And Pakistan will pay no one. Pakistan will not pay itself. Forget it. Should we appropriate the term father of modern artillery given your. I really don't want to be called anything of that kind. I did what I had to do very honestly. I spent 10 years doing it and I've achieved something for India. I'm very happy. And now I can talk to all of you. You know, and that's why I say, look, what I say, I have no axe to grind. Joe, you know, in life, we all have to reach a level where beyond that, na, uh, few things matter. And those few things which matter are not money, they're not personal fame, nothing for self. It's to give back to society. And this is my giving back time to society. So whatever I do for India, whatever my analysis is for the best of my ability for India to prosper. It's not it's not for you me to follow. I want more to follow because more people should understand what the whole story is. That's my idea. Otherwise, whether one fellow follows me or not, it doesn't matter. Thanks a lot, Sunny Pad, for your view. I don't see Vishwanathan's first thing. Yeah. Okay, I'll come to that. Even Hyundai, Suzuki, and a plethora of foreign investments since past 4 decades has not helped in developing cutting-edge technology in India. We have been used as a low-cost manufacturing. Yeah, now I got your thing. Center for their export and profit through internal sale. Same situation will continue with Chinese investment. We have no option but to develop our own as both West Europe and continue to be whatever it is. I don't see your to be comfortable with windfall profit that China and most autocratic regimes offer. Your views. Look, I have a slightly different view on this because I've seen the Maruti thing grow over a period of time. Now the point is this. Now, when Maruti established itself here, we had nothing. They 100% kits used to come from here and we used to produce. But slowly we gained. Now today Maruti is or Suzuki, Delhi, India is a big center for Maruti and Suzuki to make cars and export. Some designs also from here. It's not as if the cutting edge technology has not been taken. A whole lot of technology we have gone. If you go to that area, the area has changed immensely. You've not seen it probably when I saw it first with just a board, Maruti Udyog Limited. In fact, I had a unit just next to it. I used to keep going in Delhi. So I've seen it grow. So the sea change which has happened. I see things in Chennai, the way things have changed. I speak to people who are in this auto industry. A lot of things have changed. So, but will it change with the Chinese investment is a question mark. That I agree with you. That we have to be very careful. I'm not happy with them being allowed here. Okay, personally. But if the government of India is doing it, it's my business to put across the views from there. Yeah, what is the possibility of China invading Ladakh by 2023 to neutralize DBO zero? By 2023, Roop, the thing might be China might be defending something. That's why I've spoken about it all the way. How to get USS to support Balochistan independence movement more actively? Difficult because USA at this point of time wouldn't like to get involved in this. Am I justified in feeling disappointed with PM's overtures to China? Not fully, to some extent, yes. Because you at least speak to him, and that fellow, you give a. I mean, at the end of the day, you might not allow him to do much. So far, nothing has happened. can keep him in the talk mode. At least you buy peace. That's the more important thing. This video is too painful to watch. Hits a raw note with me. Well, I can't help it, but one has to be actually. Sham Saab, what is happening in buffer zones created in Depsang and hot springs? Nothing. They're just doing patrolling. Okay, let me go from the top now. Akash, I've spoken. Yeah, let's take this. Some British Pakistani Labour MPs lobbying to fund an airport building in Mirpur, POK. Does UK already in control? I don't think so. All this is big deal. Nothing will happen. And I don't think. UK is a spent force. Don't worry. So many leftists saying that China is a dictatorship, India is a democracy. Is a lazy excuse for government failures. Do you agree? No, I don't. I go with it. I feel it's born out of hatred and logic. I agree with you. It's not. Don't worry. What is the possibility of China invading land? Zero. What is the possibility of India invading China? It is more than one. Kim has got new toy AVAX with the help of Putinji in return for sending thousands to fight in Kursk. We will see 38 barrel heating up. That's the nightmare scene for Xi Jinping. One day, I don't think it will happen, but that's a nightmare scene. We'll talk of it one of these days. You see, with now, just think if Russia swings towards USA, then Kim Jong Un will be pulled back, which will be problematic for China. That's a very tricky thing, which is one day I have to do. I don't know when I'll do it. So even as an Indian, I can feel growing unease and animosity towards US by Europe. Denmark, Greenland are not happy at all with Vance's visit. Will Trump bluster policy end up backfiring or succeed? Let's see. But I think he'll succeed in Panama. I think he'll succeed in Greenland. Europe will wake up. We are in for a bout of remilitarization all over the world, and we are not away from it. And I think he will change the way China is behaving. That's my view. When you want to defeat your enemy, show him to be his friend, Sun Tzu. Yeah, I like it. There are news that India has finally restriction on Chinese FDI. Also, many apps that were banned now are online. I'm not having good. I agree with you. That's why I did this episode today. So the machinery of the mind is directed towards. Yeah, I agree with you. I look at it that way. Your views on BYD investment absolutely useless. We shouldn't have gone into it. Okay. Why are we causing up? Yeah, we shouldn't be doing it, Prem. I have no doubt about it. That's what I've said. We have to keep that border issue back at every discussion. That's something we have not done. Okay, let me see which are the other questions. Yeah, do you feel the latest move by USA in Pakistan shall encourage common grounds economically with China and restructure? Pakistan is beyond restructuring. That may be very thing. I don't see Pakistan coming out of its problems in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And water is going to be a major problem where it cannot get out of it. You're going to be seeing problems in Pakistan, and we're going to discuss a lot of Pakistan in the forthcoming days. Yeah, yeah, हिंदी में एक दिन और पंजाबी में 2 दिन. ठीक, let's see. So why are you still not focusing on Navy? China is mapping the seabed for their submarines. Don't you think whenever they come into Indian Ocean, they should see Indian destroyers? We are keeping an eye. How do you know if they're not keeping an eye? We are. So don't worry about it. Which state of Bharat has been most successful in manufacturing, or top 5 manufacturing states? Maharashtra, Karnataka, uh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, and probably Telangana. Not Andhra. Andhra is not that developed industrially. Telangana. Okay, we have not said that. Yeah, it's not a good thing which is happening. So let's see where it goes. Vamred. So your thoughts on how the world will align in next 10 to 20 years with these changes happening all over the world, see any major change after World War II? Yeah, there is a change, Vamred. Seeing you after a long time. I've been missing you. There will be change, and the change will be that uh, USA will get back. China is going to go down. That I've told you for many reasons. China is already on its way down. Okay, what will happen then? The powers which will rise or rather continue. See, USA will continue to be the number one. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Whatever others say. Okay, Russia is in the resurgent mode. India is stable today. India is the most stable large economy in the world. You're progressing. Well, others are having a problem. There will be remilitarization in Europe and in Japan and all that. I feel that the nuclear scene will go up, new remilitarization will go up, new alignments will start, and there will be a reordering. I've always said 2030. 2030 is the time when you'll get a clear idea where the world is going. Till then, we'll have to stumble along like this. But I feel by then, by 2030, India being the third largest economy, will have a place. Okay, with Russian power, US overall power, and India's rise, you will see this happening, and China will get bottled in between. The US military posture, deployment basis, thinking since World War II has been to protect Europe as an ally against USSR as enemy. How massive US flip with 180 degrees post from now. It's not a massive flip. It's just that US has said, look, Russia is not the enemy you imagined. And I agree with him. Russia was never the enemy. The enemy was China. It is the people before Trump who made Russia into enemy. If you go into the history, Putin has always said, take me in. I don't want to go to China. I want to be part of you. It's these fools who didn't make it happen. I'm glad it's getting recorrected. Uh, Sir, if Xi Jinping falls, we may see probably Chinese decline. It's happening anyway. If it falls, it will be even further, even faster. That's how it is. How do you see our foreign policy in our neighborhood? Majority of them use Chinese defense. I don't think that's a great thing. Don't worry. The only one you would have really worried is Pakistan. And that too, I predict another 2-3 years. After that, you'll see a different thing happening, because what's happening in Pakistan, what's happening in Balochistan, what's happening in that is completely different. It's going to change Pakistan for good. I don't know whether if it continues to be one entity. That's a bigger question. Mukesh Ambani has a license with China Shine, Agio, and will sell fashion wear. ये ठीक है, why ये फैशन फूशन वेयर बेचने दो, हमें कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Why was attack subjected to absurd testing in comparison to who said so? Who gave you this idea? I didn't do it. It never happened. In fact, the other guns were a bigger problem than attacks. Look, I've done this with Sneha Shalik Phillips. See that video completely. I'll put it out by tomorrow or day after. I'll also put it out on Gunner Shot. Then you ask me questions. I know when I put it out, I'll put it out. I'll put it in a manner where you can ask me questions as the video is going. Don't worry. Your thoughts on tariff war with US is good for India. It's very good for India. I'm very happy it's happening. It'll jolt all our industrialists out of their stupor. They have to become competitive. Unless we become competitive, we'll not grow. This protection of our industry is bad. See, once upon a time, our industry and everything had to be protected because if there was nothing, if they had come, people would have just been wiped out and we would have been in a bad shape. Not now. We have got all the thing. The industry today is taking advantage of the protections and skinning us. The moment they know that they have to be more efficient, then you'll see things happening the right way. There'll be good things coming out of this tariff war. Don't worry. I'm sure what will happen in the next 2 days, 3 days, it will come out. It will be good for India. Let's chat. She says the population of China is highly exaggerated. Lee's chat, okay. Yeah, it is exaggerated, but I don't think it's what the way she's put it. She's put it at a level which is far below. I don't think so. Please cut and post separately London part as an inspirational, thought-provoking question for people. Yeah, fine. I'll do that. That's only a 10-15 minute thing. We'll put it out. That entire bit will come out separately. By tomorrow or day after, I'll put it. I agree, sir, but after Pak disintegrate, should we take POK back with its radical people? In my view, GB should be the priority. Let's get to that. I also agree with you. I don't want POK back. Those chaps are all Punjabi Muslims there. GB we can manage because the population is also less and the area is more critical. So let us see how it happens. Okay, that's a little way away. Okay. Okay, I've finished with all the questions, and I think I've had a great day today. So if you all fine, so tomorrow evening we're going to talk about Nepal, all right, with General Shokin Chauhan. What's happening there? Whether it's monarchy going to come in or it's going to be anarchy, we'll see what happens. And we have to understand what's happening. We've been talking of Bangladesh, we've been talking of Pakistan, we're talking of all other countries. We've left out Nepal. Why leave it out? So we'll talk of it tomorrow. Till then, thank you, good evening, and have a great night. And Jai Hind to all of you.